Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us for our weekly live Q&A discussing and taking your questions about U.S. immigration live on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube, and the video recording on YouTube. If you had questions where you want to schedule a consultation, just email me at info@jqklaw.com. The contact information is in the show notes and description. But again, that's info@jqklaw.com, and describe the immigration issue that you have so I'll know what's going on with your case and I can respond and schedule a consultation to discuss in more detail, do it by video, we can see each other, have you send the documents, so we can figure out what's going on with your case and what can be done from there. But with that, let's get things started. We're going to talk about some updates on the public charge rule, the thing that's scaring the hell out of a lot of people. Some good news for people who live in the West Coast. We'll be right back. Just to start off, before we get into any questions, I want to let people know that the public charge rule, which came into effect February 24, 2020, in particular in the United States, where if you're filing for adjustment of status, you have to submit Form I-944, Declaration of Self-Sufficiency. It's a very complicated form that requires a whole ton of information and background about the foreign applicant who's going to apply for a green card. That comes and goes. Some courts say you have to stop, and the next day they say to come back. Well, today, Wednesday, December 2nd, a Court of Appeals, 9th Circuit in California, where they're seeing it, but this covers all the West Coast, Hawaii, Alaska, Washington State, Oregon, California, Nevada, maybe another state there or two somewhere. But in this area, as of today, you do not have to submit Form I-944 Declaration of Self-Sufficiency. Now, USCIS will have to update their website to make this distinction. The only people that could go above and beyond the circuit court right here to stop it is the Supreme Court. They could come back tomorrow and say, no, this injunction has to stop. And based on how things have been going historically and based on the previous decision of the Supreme Court, I wouldn't be surprised if they said, no, the I-944 is back again. But for now, a lot of people, a big chunk of the population in California and the West Coast don't need to do that. Other people still need to. We'll see what happens with those courts. The president's going to change probably. So it's just it's like a mess, put it frankly. But it was some piece of good news. A lot of my clients are on the West Coast. I'm headquartered in Los Angeles, although I have cases from across the country. A big chunk of my cases are here. So at least for now, we may not. But in reality, because it may come back, if I have new cases coming in, I'm probably going to recommend that they prepare the Declaration of Self-Sufficiency Form I-944, just in case, so we don't be surprised, but ideally want to submit it while it's not required. Now, the embassy has a form of its own for public charge called Form DS-5540, but there's still an existing injunction, which means the court said stop to them already, and that has been overdone, still pending. So if you even try to find Form DS-5540, the embassy version of the public charge for people going through consular processing, the website won't even show it, it's gone. So be prepared for that. They will analyze your finances and your background. Frankly, just getting an embassy interview right now is difficult. But if you are able to, it's as long as you meet the old standards for the I-864 affidavit of support, most likely should be fine unless your case has some issues. But everything is in a flux, which means every morning when I wake up and afternoon after I have lunch, it's a different rule. And that's the problems with immigration, so that's why you have to have an attorney with you along the way, so when these changes happen, you're quickly updated. There's just constant issues and problems that are emerging and everything. It's very stressful for practitioners. I mean, obviously for people that are going through it, but when you have like 30 cases at once and all of them have issues that are not really issues, it's just headaches that they're inserting into the system, it's a nightmare. But with that, let's get started. We have a bunch of questions already popping up. I'll go to it. Says, I received my receipt notice for I-130, I-485, I-765 on July 16th and still haven't got my biometrics. Should I be worried? Well, I'm glad you mentioned this question. This is a severe issue. There's two issues with delays with USCIS. One, the biometrics appointment. These are taking forever. I have a case where I filed for a re-entry permit. This is so someone could be outside the US for 2 years. Filed it in August. Right now it's December. So many months later, we still do not have a biometrics appointment. So it's very normal if you have not received your biometrics appointment. And it's also very normal, unfortunately, that if you submitted a case in the last 30 or 45 days that you may not have received a receipt notice yet. So when you file a case, usually a week or 2 or 3 later, they cash a check, and then a week later after that, you get a receipt notice in the mail saying they have your case, and they start working with it. But right now, there's huge delays, up to even 60 days of delays until you get the notification. Now, if there are delays, it's still possible that the post office lost your case, USCIS lost your case, they rejected it for incorrect filing. All that's possible, but I have a lot of cases right now where we filed in the last 5 weeks or 4 to 5 weeks, and we still haven't had the check cashed. It's very annoying, but I've been talking with other colleagues, they're seeing the same issues too. So that's just something you have to deal with right now with USCIS. Anil asks, I'm an F1 student. I applied for adjustment of status and got receipts, and my F1 visa expired on November. The visa doesn't matter when you're a student visa holder. I get this question a lot. The visa itself only matters if you want to leave and come back again. But if you're in the United States, what's important is maintaining your status. Going to school, or if you're OPT, going to work, not having unemployment, not violating your status. For example, maintaining your passport is very important if you're a student visa holder or anyone else with a non-immigrant visa in the United States. Always maintain their passport, at least have 6 months extra, and at the 6-month mark, meaning it's about to be 6 months more, the passport's going to be expired, you should renew it. Try to contact your home country embassy or whatever it is. Renew that passport, because maintaining a valid passport is key to not violating your immigration status. It's very important, so make sure to do that. Karina asks, how long after biometrics do you get your work permit? There is no timeline with regards to biometrics and getting work permits. So biometrics are your own thing. Whether you get the work permit approved a day later, a month later, 6 months later, a year later, that's its own thing. Whenever USCIS gets around to it, they'll do that. The biometrics has no effect on when you have your interview for adjustment of status, or when you get your work permit, or whether you get your travel permission. The biometrics is just the biometrics. In fact, this year I had a case where the work permit was approved without the biometrics. So that's how things like that go. Oscar asks, can DACA help a person get a green card if married to a U.S. citizen? Well, DACA is deferred action for childhood arrivals. These are people who entered the United States when they're children. They got special permission under program, under President Obama, to stay in the United States and get a work permit. Does that help with getting a green card if you're married? Not really, except small exceptions. For example, if you got DACA before you turned 18 and a half, if you had entered without permission, you can still get your green card. You have to go to the embassy, but you don't need to get a waiver. It's a very small exception. But if you enter the U.S. with a visa and you're married to a U.S. citizen and you satisfy other stuff, there's a good chance you get your green card without issue. But Oscar, you got to contact my office, schedule a consultation. I need to know the details of your specific case to see how DACA affects you, because there's so many different variations on how these things work that it's hard to give a general answer to something like that. Happy asks, my green card is going to expire and I haven't filed anything. It will end this January 2021. Well, Happy, if you have a green card that's a removal of conditions kind of green card, a 2-year green card, it's mandatory that you file the renewal 90 days before the green card expires. If you don't, you're going to have a mess of problems. So make sure you do that first of all. Secondly, if it's a 10-year green card, then it's not that big a deal. It's better to apply and renew it. Why not? But at that point, you may want to look into filing for citizenship if it's appropriate. So you should really contact an immigration attorney in private and consult with them to see what's going on. You said you got divorced, you followed up. You got divorced before your 2-year green card, so 100% you need to schedule a consultation with a lawyer that's local in your city. You may have an interview in the future, so you need to go to that interview, but you need to deal with this issue. They're going to really focus on your marriage. So if you get a 2-year green card because you got a green card based on marriage and the marriage was new, they're going to pay attention to that case once again to make sure the marriage wasn't fake. So you need to document it well and explain what happened in addition to all the documents of your relationship, and potentially go to an interview and show that your relationship was real. It's not a fake marriage, but the situation just called for you separating. So definitely consult with an immigration as soon as possible. January is not much time left to be able to do that, and it's a complicated kind of case, so you need a lot of time to prepare it. I wish you would just get it sooner. Are you going to get deported? Hopefully not, but we got to jump on your case and figure it out. So please, 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 as soon as possible, talk to some lawyers. You're in a really bad position. It's fixable, but you need to have time to prepare for it, and you don't have much time. So it's very bad that you delayed this long, but as soon as possible, just get off the phone right now or get off TikTok and call a lawyer and start setting it up. Mohammed says, how someone come from Pakistan if someone want to work as a nurse in the United States? Well, you're just asking, if someone is from Pakistan, how could they come work in the United States as a nurse? Well, you have to find, there's many different ways, but one of the easier ways, semi-easier ways, is you have to find an employer, probably a hospital, that wants to hire a nurse. And then they could apply for your green card. Now you need to have the proper qualifications for a nurse, the paperwork that's required, the certifications, whatever it is, a language, things. Now, by this sentence that you wrote here, I don't know if they would accept it, but you need to pass some exams, because as a nurse, it's a sensitive position. You don't want to misunderstand a patient and give him the wrong medication or something like that, but your English has to be really good. But you give the test and all that kind of stuff. The employer in the United States files for your green card based on being a nurse, and once it's approved, you come to the United States and you be a nurse. Now, there's other ways too. That's the typical way for a nurse, because there's a shortage of nurses in the United States. Because of that, they made it a little bit easier. Although this morning, actually, USCIS did a policy manual update to make it a little bit harder. But generally, it's a good way to go. But you need to have all the paperwork together, and you need to have an employer lined up. That's just one way though. There's other ways. Definitely consult with an immigration or private to figure it out. But yeah, you gotta find an employer, so that's hard. Mohammed asks, what is the easiest way to move from Pakistan to US? There are no easy ways. It's just whatever fits you. Easy way is getting married to a U.S. citizen, but that's not easy. You got to fall in love and get a relationship with an American citizen and do that. So that's not easy. Some people are great. So I have a client who's one of the top people on YouTube. He lives abroad. I mean, he was from a foreign country, but one of the biggest people on YouTube. It was really easy for him to get a green card. It was like this. But the hard part was becoming the #1 person on YouTube. so it's easy for the process, but it's hard doing that. Or again, like the marriage example, it's easy to file the case once you're married to a U.S. citizen and stuff. Relatively easy. They make it really complicated. But the hard part is you got to find a wife, a real relationship, fall in love. So when you ask for something like easy, there's no easy in life. It just is. And if you fit within one of the categories and you fit, if not, then you don't. So that's the way you should look at it. Stanley asks, how can a couple prove that they live together if they live at the petitioner's parents' family house? Well, you get letters, maybe you get added to the utility bills, and you have driver's licenses that have the address of that home address. You file tax returns that show that address. You have all these documents. You have mail that goes to there. You work, for example, and your pay stubs get sent to there. We really got to analyze your relationship to see what's going on and take it from there. By the way, if you are thinking about a marriage green card case, the first thing to do is to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's a free, no-cost ebook I wrote, 41 pages, PDF. You download it at www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You got to type in the W's, so www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and it really breaks down the whole process better than any other ebook there is. I've checked any other free thing guidance you have, 41 pages. And then once you have that understanding of what's going on, then you can consult with an immigration attorney, because now you have strategy and guidance. So when you go to that office, you can tell if a lawyer knows what they're talking about and not waste time on the basic stuff, but go into more complex discussion about the case and planning. So definitely check that out, www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. So much information. I gave it all away for free. Just go to that website, put in your email, and the ebook will be emailed to you. Hope you enjoy it. Alan says, good evening. I have a rescheduling my interview in January 2020. USCIS did not ask me for the medical exam. Should I take it as a just in case? If you needed to do a medical exam for an adjustment case, 100% you need to have that ready to bring with you to the adjustment of status interview. Yeah, you definitely want to do that. Bad idea if you don't. Your case will usually get RFE. Some harsh officers might even deny your case. So immediately schedule a time to get the medical done, so when you go to your interview, you have it in the sealed envelope ready to go. I have a lot of videos about that, for example, that you should ask the doctor for an extra copy so you can review the results to make sure they didn't make any mistakes or misspellings. That's something important to do for your medical exam, but definitely check that out. If you wanted to schedule a consultation, email me at info@jqklaw.com. The info on TikTok's in the profile above, in the link tree on my descriptions. It's all everywhere. Just type in JQK Law on YouTube and you'll find my number and email. Contact me, we'll schedule a consultation, and we'll take it from there. But with that, I think we're all set for today. Thank you everyone for joining us this Wednesday. We'll be back again next Wednesday to take your questions. In the meantime, follow us on social media channels. You get a bunch of updates every day, or 1 or 2 postings everywhere. There's so much information I'm just dumping out there so you guys know what's going on. If you have questions about timelines, for example, I even post approval notices so you get an idea of how long my timelines are, even though they're not consistent and they change a lot. All right, everyone, that's about it. Until next one, have a good one. Bye-bye, be safe.